In Bolivia, President Luis Arce led a ceremony for the signing of the national agreement with the victims of the last military dictatorship. In Colombia, the National Institute for Development and Peace reported a new massacre in the department of Cauca, the 65th so far this year. And in Syria, all looting operations by the United States intensified. 137 loaded trucks crossed the border into Iraq this Sunday. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. In Bolivia, President Luis Arce led a ceremony to celebrate the signing of the national agreement with victims of the last military coup. At the event held at the Casa Grande del Pueblo, Arce paid tribute to the victims of dictatorial governments from 1964 to 1982, with an agreement signed between the national government and the platform of social fighters against impunity for justice and historical memory of Bolivian people who survived these dictatorships. Under this document, the National General Treasury will assume 80% of the resources that were not covered in the compensation of victims in 2004. Initially, some 1,714 people will be covered, leaving a little over 4,000 victims on the agenda, whose files will be reviewed by a commission integrated by the Ministries of Health and Justice and other organizations.
We today, together with you, simply want to pay tribute to each and every one of those who have fallen, those who have been victims of coups and military dictatorships. You have survived. You're fighting to build a democratic state so that we can all live better, and that is also our objective as a national government.
The government of Bolivia announced that they will be sending a ship with humanitarian aid to Cuba after the accident that affected the supertanker base in the province of Matanzas. The Foreign Minister of Bolivia, Rogelio Maita, accompanied by various Cuban authorities, are making preparations for the delivery of a shipment with humanitarian aid to the island to collaborate in dealing with the consequences of the disaster. The shipment is expected to leave in the early hours of Monday morning and arrive in the island at around 9 a.m. During an appearance before the media, officials explained that the shipment includes 62 tons of medical supplies, food and materials for the reconstruction of the destroyed facilities.
This donation has special peculiarities. Reference has been made to quantities. There has been talk of 62 tons. Of those 62 tons, 30 are donations from the plurinational state of Bolivia, including medicines and foodstuffs. The rest are donations that have been made by Bolivian men and women from a number of different organizations who have wanted to give their word of solidarity to the Cuban people. The Cuban residents themselves here in Bolivia have mobilized and have also made their own campaign. And well, this plane of a Bolivian air transport is going to carry all these donations.
For his part, Franco Rodriguez, Cuba's General Consul in Bolivia, expressed the island's gratitude for the initiative.
And the people, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the Bolivian authorities who have facilitated this donation, especially to the highest leadership of the government, President Lucio, to the leadership of MAS for supporting us in this difficult situation we're going through today. We are beaten but not defeated.
Cuba's national health system ensured it has a strategy aimed at preventing and facing the risk of spreading monkeypox. Dr. Carrilla Peña, Deputy Minister of Public Health, explained that after the confirmation of the first case on the island, the government has defined a flow chart for attention and established measures to control outbreaks. Healthcare units are also ready to attend positive cases. This Saturday it was reported that an Italian citizen who arrived on the island on August 15th is the first confirmed case, and health authorities are deepening on the epidemiological investigation. Since the first cases were reported in the world, Cuba has biosecurity standards at all levels, and the case of the Italian patient is currently being analyzed by Pedro Curie Tropical Medicine Institute. Ecuador's National Electoral Council will publish this Sunday the text of the call for the 2023 sectional elections after unanimously approving it in plenary. According to the report of the electoral entity, the registration of candidacy will begin on Monday, August 22nd and will end on Tuesday, September 20th. The official list of qualified candidates for the Council of Citizens Participation and Social Control will be published on October 3rd next. The electoral campaign, on the other hand, will start on January 3rd until February 2nd, 2023, while the electoral debates are scheduled for the 14th and 15th of the first month of the year. Meanwhile, the sectional elections will be held on February 5th and more than 5,000 new representatives will be elected. The newly selected authorities will take office on Sunday, May 14, 2023. On the Ayotzinapa case, the judge Marco Antonio Fuerte Tapia ordered preventive detention this Saturday for former Attorney General of Mexico, Jesus Murillo Caram. Thus, the former official charged with the disappearance of the 43 Ayotzinapa missing normalistas is ordered to remain in northern prison. This was the magistrate's decision after 12 hours of hearing and after considering that the arguments of Federal Public Prosecutor's Office are valid. The Prosecutor's Office considered that by virtue of the acquaintances, friends, and family network that Murillo Caram has, the risk of his trying to escape from justice by leaving the country is very high, especially because it has been proven that he has the possibility of taking private flights. Priscilla Segura, relative of the former Attorney General, confirmed upon leaving the prison that Murillo Caram is doing well and they trust in justice.
These are situations that happen in a hearing, and well, that's all said and done. Let's wait for the next hearing next Wednesday at 8 a.m.
We're going to take a short break now. Join us again after this. Welcome back to From the South. In Colombia, the National Institute for Development and Peace reported a new massacre in Bolivar department, the 65th so far this year, 2022. According to the report presented this Sunday, the bodies of 3 persons were found on Friday, August 12th, on the road that leads between Simiti municipality and San Pablo, near the sector known as Cueva de Sapo. 2 of the deadly victims have been identified, one as Aider Centeno Quintero and the other as Davy Perea, while investigations to determine the name of the third victim continue. In response, the Regional Ombudsman's Office issued an alert due to growing violence and the presence of groups operating outside the law, which provide security services to drug traffickers. In Colombia, the government of President Gustavo Petro installed the first unified command post for life in the community of Caldono, located in the department of Cauca, in the southwest of the country. With the presence of members of the Senate's Peace Commission, the initiative was launched to ensure that the state has a presence in the regions historically affected by the conflict, in order to protect the lives of social leaders. Caldono is the first municipality visited by members of the Peace Commission, while 77 others have been identified as suitable for the creation of permanent posts for life. The Minister of Interior, Alfonso Prada, gave an account of the progress made during the first meeting.
These are part of a much larger universe of measures. To speak in terms of numbers, we announce here about 12 measures. The shock plan contains 29 that have been mentioned, that are part of a universe of about 80 that I have received and that we will be analyzing for their implementation.
In Venezuela, the Public Prosecutor's Office has identified those responsible for the fire at the premises of the Venezuelan Social Security Institute, located in the industrial zone of Antimano in the city of Caracas. According to Tarek William Saab, Attorney General, these individuals were identified as Laila Janeth Miranda Vasquez and Jorge Ernesto Cambero Rangel, who were in charge of guarding the medical supplies and inputs. The Attorney General's office, in addition to issuing an arrest warrant for the suspect, referred them to the Second Court Against Terrorism on charges related to this instance. Both will be charged with the crimes of terrorism and association to commit crime. Thousands of people demonstrated in the center of Chile's capital, Santiago, on Saturday to demand the right to decent housing and to express their support for a new constitution for the country. The draft will be put to a referendum on September 4th. More than 15 million Chileans will decide whether or not they want to approve a new Magna Carta. Protesters carried ethnic flags such as the Wipala of the Andean peoples in support of saying yes to the new constitution. The draft charter was drafted over the course of 1 year by a 154-member constitutional convention. It seeks to replace the current one, inherited from the dictatorship of Augusto Pinochet, with one that recognizes new rights and forms of national state organization. The Argentine government expressed its rejection to a contest organized by the British Embassy accredited in Buenos Aires, which invites students from the United Kingdom to apply for a trip to Malvinas Islands. They claim that they only intend to reflect the occupation of the islands. This Saturday, the Argentine Foreign Ministry confirmed its sovereignty over Islas Malvinas, South Georgia and South Sandwich Islands, and the surrounding maritime areas, after it was learned that the Embassy of the United Kingdom invited young people from that country to carry out exchanges with the island. The Foreign Office report claims that the contest is presented under an incorrect slogan that pretends to qualify those islands as a territory separate from the Argentine Republic. The promotion of the British contest refers to an academic competition to live in the Islas Malvinas. The Secretary of the Malvinas, Antarctic and South Atlantic, Guillermo Carmona, described the initiative as an absolutely unnecessary confrontation. In the United Kingdom, workers at the country's main cargo port joined the strike of transport workers and other sectors who are demanding wage increases to compensate for inflation. Nearly 2,000 employees at Britain's largest container port, Felixstowe, began a strike in the early hours of Sunday morning, the first since 1989. It comes amid strikes for better wages and working conditions in several industries in the United Kingdom. These demands are being driven by inflation, which hit a 40-year high above 10% last month as rising food and energy prices hurt millions. The Bank of England has forecast that inflation will exceed 13% this year, pushing the British economy into a deep and prolonged recession. In Germany, the Vice President of Parliament, Wolfgang Kubicki, called for the launch of the Russian gas pipeline Nord Stream 2. According to the parliamentarian, the measure of rejecting Russian hydrocarbon does not affect the budget of the European Eurasian nation, but directly affects German citizens who must save on everything. The parliamentarian assured that the commissioning of the gas pipeline would help to save the country's economy, send more funds to Ukraine, and efficiently use gas supplies for other countries. In this regard, the politicians reminded that if the pipeline is in operation, Germany could fill the gas storage facilities and become completely independent of gas supply, as it organizes gas supply from other countries. Russian authorities said on Sunday they had opened a murder investigation after the daughter of philosopher Alexander Dugin was killed by a car bomb on the outskirts of Moscow. In a statement, the Russian Investigative Committee said it believed someone planned and ordered the car explosion that killed Daria Dugina based on evidence already collected from the blast. Authorities stated they do not dismiss the possibility the explosion may be targeted to the then victim's father, since Daria was driving his car and not hers. Both Dugin and his daughter have been sanctioned by the United States Department of the Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control and the Department of State. We have more news coming up after a financial break, so don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. The United States military illegally transported 137 tanker trucks with oil from Syria to Iraq on Sunday. Syrian state news agency SANA reported, citing local sources, that U.S. troops transported the oil into convoys consisting of 122 and 15 tanker trucks and used the Mahmudiyya illegal border crossing to get to Iraq. U.S. armed forces illegally control territories in northern and northeastern Syria, where the country's largest oil and gas deposits are located. Damascus has repeatedly called the presence of U.S. troops on its territory an occupation and state piracy for the purpose of oil haste. Somali forces concluded the investigations at Hyatt upscale hotel in the country's capital Mogadishu following an attack from identified gunmen that left dozens dead. According to the latest report, at least 30 people were killed and 50 others injured during the attack. We saw a number of fighters take hostages and fire at security forces from inside the hotel. Police Chief General Abdi Hassan Mohammed Hijar said in a televised briefing that attackers used the hostages as human shields, slowing police efforts to end the terrorist siege. He also confirmed that 106 people had been rescued, including children and women. The body of Angola's former president José Eduardo Santos, who died in Spain in July, arrived in the Angolan capital Luanda. The repatriation of Dos Santos' remains came amid a tense election campaign and ended a weeks-long feud between the Angolan government and Dos Santos' widow and some of his children over when and where he would be buried. A few dozen people gathered at Luanda's airport to welcome the coffin of the former leader, who was the president of Angola from 1979 to 2017. According to a spokesperson for the People's Movement for the Liberation of Angola party, the funeral is likely to take place on August 28th, Dos Santos' birthday. Japan recorded more than 6 million new COVID-19 cases in the past month, with more than 200 daily deaths, which has further strained its medical system, fueled by the seventh wave of infections. The country logged a record daily high of more than 200,000 new COVID-19 cases. On Thursday, the second time the number of newly cases exceeded the 200,000 threshold in a single day since the pandemic hit the country. A total of 287 people were reported dead, bringing the total death toll to more than 36,000. The latest weekly update on coronavirus of the World Health Organization showed Japan with the highest number of new cases in the world for the fourth week in a row, followed by South Korea and the United States. At least 40 people died and others were missing in flash floods triggered by intense monsoon rains in northern India over the past 3 days. The Indian Meteorological Department predicted that heavy to very heavy rain would continue to fall in the region for the next 2 days. The rains inundated hundreds of villages, swept away mud houses, flooded roads, and destroyed bridges in some parts of Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand states. Disasters caused by landslides and floods are common in India's Himalayan north during the June-September monsoon season. Scientists say they are becoming more frequent as global warming contributes to the melting of glaciers there. Last year, flash floods killed nearly 200 people and washed away houses in Uttarakhand. TeleSUR English continues to grow its signal on Research Europe. You can order from your cable dealer or tune it yourself. These parameters that you see on screen are in place since July 1st, and quite soon further change will be implemented for the signals in the Middle East and Africa. Now more than ever, the world connects to us, and our stories are heard in all the faraway nations. This news multi-platform will continue providing truthful content to oppose the hegemonic media's narrative and our faithfulness to our audience. We have come to the end of this news brief. Remember, you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Telegram. And now you can also follow us on TikTok at the account at TeleSUR English, in which you will be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and more. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.